everyone, it's Rhonda here from Nelson Soapery. For those of you that have not met me or you've just landed on my channel, I want to say a massive welcome and of course a really big thank you for either joining me on the channel or subscribing. If you'd like to subscribe, please do. You'll see some really great videos. I give some business tips, also how to make tips, recipes as well, and the full tutorial that I try and bring to you when I do these videos, because I want to see all of you making some gorgeous products and having success with that. If you have any questions, always make sure that you just put a note down in the description box. I'll always comment to every single comment that comes in, or any questions or queries. I do like to help you guys, so please make sure you pop it all down there. And if you want to follow any of my social medias, the social media handles of course are in all the descriptions, so just pop down and have a look on there and make sure you follow me on there. Share the love and share my channel if you would like. But for today, let's get started on making some candle products. I get asked quite often about the candle products and what I can actually bring to show you. So today I'm going to be working with a beautiful wax that I really love. I have changed from 464 and now I have actually gone over to this pure soy. So I started using this particular new one from Pure Candle Supplies in Melbourne, and I've ordered, a small bit. They actually originally gave me a tiny bag so that I could try it. I loved it. Really loved it. And so now I've decided to go with 100% soy from them. So it's really good, beautiful, smooth tops, 100% smooth. This is one that I've just done as a bit of a tester, so you can see it's nice and smooth. That one obviously has no color. That's the color it is, a gorgeous kind of like this beautiful creamy white kind of color. So it's a great color as well. So what I'm actually going to be doing is making some candles today, but we're going to do birthday inspired candles. So let's get going and I'll show you exactly how I'm going to do it. To make this candle, we need a few things. So first of all, we need some gorgeous little sprinkles. So I have these colorful ones. I really love these because they're tiny, and the tinier that they are, the easier they are to actually glue onto the jar, because we're going to be gluing these. So you need this, of course you need a paintbrush or any little brush, it doesn't matter, cheapy one's fine. And then of course this new product, which is called Podge, and this is an amazing product that helps everything to. You also need some of these jars. You can have any type of clear jar that you like. I've actually got these from Pure Candle Supplies in Victoria, and I love them because look how beautiful and rounded the bottoms are. It makes them really modern, and it makes my sticker be able to fit perfectly on there. So I do usually use the ones in white. These are the same size. They hold up to about 400 grams. And I'll show you the white one. So these are just the white ones. So the same jar, as you can see, just one's white and one is clear. They also sell these in an amber color as well, if amber is your theme. But mine, usually I do white, but for these I do need to make these looking really beautiful in clear. So in here, this is one that I've started making already as a bit of a tester. So you can see that in here. After we do this and we put the color in, I'm just going to use a white plain color, but then I'm going to create an element that will sit on the top of this. But rather than me just doing this and showing you nothing else, I'm actually going to show you the process on what I actually do to make my candles in this. So to start with, I have already popped in my waxes. So the wax, like I said before, that I'm going to be using is from Pure Candle Supplies. And that wax is actually their 100% soy. So I don't like to put paraffins or anything. All of my waxes that I use are soy, 100%. I don't like to, like I said, use anything else. I just feel that a natural product is where my business line is. But it's okay if you use something different. But hopefully this can just sort of show you a new idea of wax and see what you think. Because, it's always a good idea. Just test them and see what you like. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. So inside here is my wax, so I can show you, and it comes in these easy flake forms, which these forms are amazing because it's really easy to measure up and then just pop into your candle, your melter. So for me, all I use is a $25 slow cooker, and I just pop them in there. It's only small. It does only hold a few liters, maybe up to, I'd say maybe up to 3.5 liters at the most when it's totally full. But I don't mind because at the moment I'm still doing things in small batches. If I was to do, you know, like 40 or 50 of the same candle, I'll definitely need to upgrade, and 100% I will be upgrading probably by next year. But for now, I'm just working with a smaller one. You can see behind me all the white ones that I've done, all the white candles. So for me, I sort of try and do 5 of each, and then I'll keep going. But it is becoming a little bit more of a problem, I'll be honest, because I'm selling out of a lot. So I do need to try and ramp up what I'm doing and make more. So yeah, if anyone has any suggestions of a great melter, let me know. I would really love to know. In Australia, things are so much harder to get, but yeah, so if you know of anyone, or even anyone that ships here that's reasonable shipping, let me know, because I'm definitely interested in that. But like I said, these flakes are really easy, and I have done a test with this particular wax before, and it was beautiful and really nice smooth top. So that's one thing I liked. I really didn't have many issues with sinkholes, colors adhering. Jar adhering was great in these as well from my testing. So we will see with this being a clear jar whether that is the same, because as we all know, clear jars can end up having a bit of a hassle in them as well. And so anyway, let's get going, and I'll show you on a new jar exactly how I've done this Mod Podge, just so that you can see. So I'm not going to lower the camera at the moment, because it's fine, I can hold it up. So of course we have our jar here, and all we're going to do is just dip it in, and you just want this much on your brush, not a heap. Don't go around the bottom, because we want to be able to stick the wick in there. And if you just go halfway up, because remember, we don't want this going over the candle, we want the candle wax to go over the top. So I'm just roughly doing it, you know, like maybe 2/3 up or something. Obviously we don't want too much up, but you know, look, they're not going to all be exactly the same, because as you can tell, I'm hand doing these, and then all I'm going to be doing is literally just, you know, painting it around. I just do one strike up and back. Try and keep it really neat, because you don't want to have it messy. There's nothing worse than being messy. So you can see with this is where it's all going to stick to. So now the next thing that you do is we've got these here, the sprinkles. We're just going to pour some in. Don't worry how many you pour in. And then you're going to tip it on your side like this. And if you can actually see, I'll hold my hand here so it doesn't go. You're just going to keep going around and around. And then they will slowly stick to the wall. When you actually think you've done enough, you can kind of give it a bit of a shake around as well. Then just pour it back into here, because obviously you are not going to eat these. Please do not leave these in a kitchen where kids can get to, because clearly this has had glue touching those bits. And as you can see here, it's all stuck and beautiful. And then of course on the bottom here, it's clean, so we can attach our wick and everything on here as well. So for this one, I thought I would talk about the wick that I have used. So I'm going to do a few of these, but I'll set this aside and we'll talk about the wick next. So I actually use Pro Wicks. So Pro Wicks come in just, you know, your cardboard box of 100 or more. I actually buy them in boxes of 100, and this is what it looks like. So the one that I'm using for this jar, and like I said, this takes 400 grams of wax. This one is called a 22 Pro Wick from Aroma Australia. That's what I've actually bought. They do also come with a little clip as well. So I'm going to go and get the clip and the box to show you exactly what I am actually using. And hopefully that helps you, because a lot of people do ask me of the exact sort of wicks. Okay everyone, I'm back. So in here, these are some of the wicks. These ones were sold to me from Pure Candle Supplies. I don't use these for these ones, but I do use these particular wicks when I'm doing my body formed ones, you know, the silicone mold, and they go inside. So this is the ones that I would use for those ones there. And this is what they look like on the top, just so you've got the exact names and so on. But just go over to Pure Candle Supplies in Australia, and they will actually give you all the information. I'll leave their link down the bottom as well, and they can sort of tell you what they have. At the moment, they don't have the Woodwick, so I am getting them from Aroma. And as I said, these ones are from Aroma. We'll take out the little silicone gel that comes with it just to protect it. And then this is what they look like. And this is the one that we are going to be using for this particular one. So it just comes in these sort of, just tells you the measurements. But I've tested these a few times. Some scents do need a booster as well. So if you're using a booster, I'm pretty sure the booster I used was a 6mm booster, also in Woodwick. These are an engineered Woodwick. Somebody may be able to tell me I'm wrong. I'm not sure. I think they might be a German engineered, but don't quote me on that because I could be wrong. And they also come with the little tabs at the bottom, and so all you're going to be doing is literally just popping the tab in the middle of these. You do need to push a bit. When I first got them, I thought, oh, these are hard, and it is hard. So especially if you're going to put a booster in, because then you're putting 2 bits of wood in the same one. So do make sure that you're testing this as well. And anyway, this is what they're going to look like. And then of course, because we haven't stuck anything on the bottom, we are literally going to stick it straight down, and you can see it goes in there really perfectly. The one thing I love about wood is you just literally put it in, and you don't need to worry about, it being centered and all this, because these candles have a circle to give you an idea where to center it. And also, they don't move because it's a straight wood wick up in the air. For anyone that doesn't know, I do not use cotton wicks at all. I literally just use wood. I really love it. Even my small baby candles use wood. Yes, it's more expensive, but I just personally feel that it is a much better burn. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. Little disclaimer there, doesn't mean I'm right. This is just what has worked for me with my products. And honestly, the Woodwick, the waxes, the fragrances, they all need to work consistently to create a really, really good candle. And for anyone that's new to candle making, I know you're going to hate me saying this, but you need to practice. I mean, seriously, you do need to practice. It's the only way. When I started, they were terrible and crumbly and ugly on the top. It just takes time. But the number one advice I can honestly give you is make sure your temperatures are spot on. If the temperature is wrong, you'll either scorch and burn the wax, and then it smells horrible and it gives a rough top and doesn't look good. Or, you're pouring it too fast, you can get sinkholes and all these issues. So, but today I will give you all the measurements I'm using, and they definitely work. 100% work. The wax I'm working with as well likes a lower pour. So, the temperature needs to be lower. So you definitely do need to keep this lower. So you can pour this between 42 and 52 degrees, not Fahrenheit degrees. I'm talking about Celsius. So this one I'm going to be talking about Celsius. So I'll see if I can find, and I can find the measurements. So in the description, I'll give you Fahrenheit and Celsius, just to make sure for any of you from the US or any other country that uses Fahrenheit. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. And also what I'm going to be doing is the fragrance I've decided to use is this one called Musk Sticks. And I'm going to do a combination of Musk Sticks and of course Black Raspberry. They are both from Pure Candle Supplies. And the Musk Sticks I really love when you combine it with a sweeter one. So it does smell like your sugary kind of candy. And then this Black Raspberry just gives a fruity kind of twist. So that's what's going to be in these. And of course, they're really party inspired ones. So I think they'll be really, really gorgeous. So anyway, we'll keep going with these because it's no good doing two. Try and do a few. For this, when I actually use this Mod Podge, because it does ruin the brush, to be honest with you, it does. The brush will never be the same. You can rinse it out later, but it's still going to be hard. I usually try and do quite a few of these, so that way, and then I just even sit them on the shelf. So, but like I said, today we're going to do the party ones. So let's get going, and I will continue doing the rest of these, and then I'm going to show you my wax burner, and then from there, when I'm pouring, I'll show you exactly what I'm doing, how I'm measuring it up, and so on. Also with this wax, you can go 8 to 10%. I always stick to about 8 to 9%. So probably about 8.5% is what I'm going to stick with. Just roughly, like just roughly do that. But don't sort of think you have to use heaps and heaps of fragrance. You do not need to do that. So don't go over it, because otherwise the fragrance will seep out the top of the wax, and then it's dangerous and it cannot be used. So anyway, let's get going and make these ones. So here is my pot that I use. So as you can see here, it has a low, a high, and of course it does have keep warm. So what I do is I usually keep it on low, and then this will take about 4 hours to melt this down. So you can put it on in the morning and keep going. But for today, you will see that I have actually popped this on high. And what it's going to do is I'll pop it on high for an hour, then I'll turn it down. Once it reaches the temperature you want, put it on keep warm, which keep warm is just this one here at the end. And that way you'll actually be doing exactly what you want to do. I always put the lid on. And if you're wondering why this lid is on, there is a really good reason. It's to stop any dust or anything that could possibly fly into this. But for now, I'll show you. So this is the wax in here. And in here, I basically have about 2 kilos, I think, at the moment of this wax. So we will just let this melt down. Once this is ready, then I will bring it to the bench and we will start to measure everything up. Honestly, when I'm putting it in here, I don't measure. I just fill this up, because what you're going to do is when we actually are going to, you know, stir in your fragrances and so on and your color chips, then I'm actually going to be putting it on the scale. So then I will weigh it up then, because this doesn't matter if you heat this up 2 or 3 or 4 times. It really doesn't matter. But anyway, and that's what I do. And then these little handles, they really don't get super hot. They just get warm. So I just lift it straight out and it comes straight out of this silver metal pot here. And you can see I'm touching it and it's been on for a couple hours. So it's fine. You know, you don't need to worry. But anyway, that's the one I use just in case you are wondering. And I will show you down here. This is the wax that I'm using. It comes in this really big container here. As I said, from Pure Candle Supplies. This box here I think is 15 kilos, but I ordered these in 60 kilo lots. So they'll actually come in boxes of 15 kilos for anyone that's going to be ordering from Pure Candle Supplies. So anyway, hopefully that's helped you and you can see exactly what it looks like. It's a beautiful wax, really, really lovely. Like I said, you know, that's kind of what it looks like. It's not too sticky and not too hard. It's a bit harder than 464. So it's not as hard as that and as dry as that. It is a little bit more moist, and I think that's what actually does help the smoother tops. But anyway, we'll get on to the next bit. Like I said, once this is heated, I will bring you back and then we'll pour and start to do all the weighing up on the scale. Now it's been about 20 hours since I've originally painted these ones and put the sprinkles on. So I have left them a good 20 hours and you can see on here how it's really quite clear and you can actually see through the jar. And the reason for that is because I've left it long. So you do actually need to leave this Mod Podge glue that we've used about 20 hours or 24 hours, you know, roughly at least, or longer. And that way it just gives it time to set so that when we pour the wax in, nothing's going to happen. So in my big pot here that you can already see, this one holds a few kilos. You can see that it's just starting to melt on the sides, but we're going to leave this for a while. Also a part of this 100% pure soy candle from Pure Candle Supplies that doesn't like to be not overdone. So just make sure that you're keeping to the low temperatures that they talk about on their website. And I'll go through that as I'm pouring it. I'll actually explain all of that so that we're onto everything. But in the meantime, we do have things to do. So what we need to do first is we need to make sure the center of these has nothing on it. And if you kind of feel like they do, just literally get a dry brush like this and go around in the circle, just getting rid of any rubbish, and tip it upside down just to tip out any sprinkles, because we don't want those in. Then we've got our Pro Wick here. This is a 22 millimeter Pro Wick, and then of course the clip that comes with it. So we are literally just going to slide this in the middle. As I said earlier, sometimes it can be a little bit hard to pop that in there. And then on the bottom here is where we're going to be putting the wick sticker. So I always say just rub it on a piece of material, or I do have like a little piece of paper towel there to the side, and I'm going to do that. And then of course I use wick stickers. So these are the wick stickers I'm going to use for today, and pop them on. These are, I think these ones are called Aussie Stickums, but there's all different words depending on which one. And then I'm just going to stick them in the middle. And as you can see, this one is ready. I don't cut this off until I finish, just in case. And as you can see in the bottom, it's pretty much centered. I just eyeball it, but it does have like a circle here in the middle, so it makes it really easy for you to be able to put them on. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop these on, and we will just put all of these together. And I will turn some music on so that you don't have to be bored watching me do this. But I'll just leave the camera running a little bit because of course we need the wax to finish its job, don't we? And then I will show you that I do actually have something special that I'm going to put on the top. So I'll just wick all of these and then I will be back. Everyone, so I have actually done these now and they are looking super duper cute. So I'm just going to leave these for a little bit just to do their thing, of course. And for now I will show you what I'm doing as well. So I have made these are my little embeds, and I've actually made these with wax, of course. It's exactly the same wax, and all I've done with these is I do have like a little silicone mold, and then in the mold, because they sit like that in the mold, I just poured a tiny bit of blue first, let that set, and then I poured the white over the top, and then these are going to sit inside here. As most of you know, with most of my candles, I do put a little embed inside, and it just makes my candles a little bit more unique. And I just think that adds to a little bit of fun, doesn't it, with these? Another thing I thought you could do is you could do 3/4 white, and then the top you could do one line of a different color, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep mine all natural white. And do remember as well, I said I'm going to be using this one, which is called Musk Sticks, and then I'm also going to be using some black raspberry, and I'm going to mix them at a 70 to 30% ratio. 70% will be the Musk Sticks, 30% will be the black raspberry. So that's what I'm going to be doing, like I said, with these ones today, and I will measure that up to the side before I come back. Now this is still going to be doing its little job, so in between, you know, waiting for this wax to melt, it's a good idea just to take the temperature to see how it's going, because we really don't want it to get over too much of a temperature. And what I'm going to do in the meantime is I do have one of these, and I know it's messy because it has wax stuck on it, and these are really good. It's just an infrared, so that's all it looks like. And then you're just going to literally pop it in here, and if I don't know whether you can see this little red sort of dot flying around, that is actually the infrared, so that it's measuring up the temperature. So at the moment it's saying it's 72 degrees. That is Celsius, and that's kind of what we want, but you know, it's not melted in the middle, so we just need to give it a little bit of time. So I'm just going to pop it down to low now, because you don't want to keep this one on high the whole time. I usually put it on high just to, you know, give it a quick melt, and then I pop it down to low and just let it slowly simmer and do the rest of its bit. Because once this is melted, we need to put it inside, you know, just a container. I usually put all mine inside these plastic containers. As you can see, it's just had wax because I've just made a batch, and then I just use small containers and pour it into here. If you have a wax melter already, you probably won't need to do that. You might have one that you can set at the right temperature. But as I've said earlier, I still use this slow cooker. In time, definitely I will upgrade to something better. But for now, for $25, which is what this cost, absolute bargain. And it's great for people starting. As I said, I do make a lot of candles, but I just didn't feel that it was right for me to invest at this time. I've invested in other things to try and get my branding right. And, making all of these things is all about budget and trying to, make sure that you're getting what you need to get done for your business and where your business stage is at. So, and also I thought, why I'm waiting for this to do this, let's just have a little chat. I've had a few people message me in regards to my dad and also on Instagram. And I just want to tell you that he's so nice and so sweet and lovely. My dad is absolutely just such a gem and a little fighter. He does have terminal cancer. He has multiple myeloma. And he spends, a week or two at my house, and then he's back at my brother's for a couple of weeks and then back here. So that's basically what we're doing to help care for him at the moment. But he's feeling good and he's eating lots of food. He's really loving my cooking. So I have to step it up tonight and make him some homemade schnitzels and some scallop potatoes. So that's what I'm making him tonight. But anyway, I just wanted to say a really big thank you for all the well wishes and everyone saying just really lovely things about him, and like I said, some private messages as well. Because most of you that would know me, people have known me for a while, they know I'm very close to my dad. He means a lot to me as my friend and my dad. So hopefully he can pull through this and go on to his next trial. But fingers crossed, you don't know, because there is no cure for multiple myeloma. And for anyone that doesn't know what it is actually blood bone cancer. So every single year I do support a foundation called Light the Night, and that is all about multiple myeloma, and they raise funds to try and find a cure, not that there is a cure, or even new medications and what they can come up with. But anyway, that's just a little bit about that. I thought I'd add that in so that everybody knows how grateful I am for all the love. Anyway, I will come back in a minute, and once this is melted down, and we'll see how it's going. And I'm going to check on my dad in a minute for 5 seconds, and then I'll come back and we will pour the rest of these candles. So we're back again, everybody. So in here I have already poured in my wax, and I've also put in the fragrance. You can probably see the discoloration of this, which has gone a brownie color, and the only reason that I do have this particular brown kind of color, it's actually the musk sticks has sent it this color. So if you were making soap, they would definitely discolor the soap, and that's how you can usually tell with colors like this. But I really don't mind. It will still come a creamy color, but it might sort of have a little bit of a tan kind of color to it, but I really don't mind. So now with this, there's a couple of things that you need to remember. So number one, the melting point on this one is 50 degrees. So, and then that obviously helps with your hot throw and so on. And your heating range to heat this wax up is 62 to 72 degrees. So we want to pour this around 45 to 55 degrees. That's what they say on here. But also there is one little trick in here. So it says add your fragrance at 52 degrees. If you add your fragrance at 52 degrees and then you're stirring, because obviously you want to stir for about 3 minutes to make sure the fragrance actually combines to all of the wax molecules, because just remember that you've got to bind everything together. You don't want to have the fragrance sitting on top, and that can definitely happen if you're not mixing it properly and mixing it for a few minutes. I usually mix all of mine for roughly 3 minutes. It's just something I've always done. And so obviously I'm just mixing it as we're talking about all the different things in here. So, and then obviously once you put it in here and we're mixing, you still want to be able to check on your temperatures. So this is where these infrared ones are really good. They're not that expensive. You can even get these from a cake shop. That's where I bought mine from. I bought this from My Dream Cakes. So at the moment it's saying that we're up to 55 degrees on here. I am naughty and I have already added the fragrance. Don't do that. I just did it because I wasn't thinking, to be really honest with you. But anyway, usually add it at 52 degrees. The only reason they're telling you to add it at that is the higher the temperature of the wax, the more likelihood that it is to burn off a bit of the fragrance. And you obviously don't want to burn off too much, because then, you know, if it's a light smelling fragrance, it's not going to smell that great on your candle, and then of course you'll be disappointed. So that's the reason for it as well. Now the trick with a lot of these are, so if you read on here, it says pour at 45 to 55. Well, you can't pour at 45 because you've got to add your fragrance at 52. So realistically, you know, once you're adding your fragrance at 52 and then you're stirring for a few minutes, it's going to come down. So you sort of want to be able to be pouring this, I would say, at around 49 to 50. I found around the 50 is sort of the best time to actually be pouring. If it's too cold and you're doing 45 or less, the problem you have is you can get all those wrinkles and ugly looks on top of your candle. So do make sure that you're really trying to pour this at the right temperature. So like I said, for me and in my studio that's kind of a medium warmth, I think it's probably about 20 degrees in here, maybe 21 degrees, because I do have the heater on. And with that temperature around, like I said, the 49 to 50 is a really good temperature for me. And that's a good temperature to pour. So, you know, but play around and check. And also when you're taking your temperature, don't just take this out and then just do that there, because what's on top here is different to what's in the middle, and you want it to be a consistent temperature when you're taking it. And I just do it every couple minutes, because even though now I'm stirring this now, this has come back up to 54, 55. And before it was showing me 53. So that actually just goes to show you how the temperature of stirring it can actually change it, because it means that on top it might have only been, you know, 50, but in the bottom it was really 55. So like I said, we want to keep this to about 50. So once this is about 50, then we will organize all of these and line them up. So in the meantime, if you hadn't put your sticks in or anything like that, you'd be doing this while this is now cooling down, because we're finished mixing it. We've already done our few minutes. But now what I'll actually do for you guys so that you can see better is I'm actually just going to pop them here, because obviously we are going to keep going with these in a minute, and we're going to be pouring. And it smells, oh my goodness, so good. Really, really good. This is the thing too that I was going to say. If you're a candle maker or you want to do this as a business, honestly, my suggestion here is be unique. Find something that's different, that's unique. Either mix your fragrances. If you want it all white, that's fine. But mix your fragrances, or, you know, like I've said, I put an embed on top. You know, another thing you could do is be one of those companies that does splash colors on top. Or like this is a different candle I've done again that is in glitter, and I've used the Mod Podge on this one as well. And this one I'll actually pour. This is for my young daughter, Pearl, who is 15, that I've made that for her. Or, you know, you can do things like this. This is one of my wax melts, and it's just got a pouring of color. And this is my Bunny Meadow, so that way I know that's the Bunny Meadow one. But they're the sort of things you could do on top just to make your candle different, or do layers of colors to make rainbow ones, or you could do, you know, rough kind of colors or cake ones, just something different to stand out. So anyway, that's my mummy talk for the day, but I really do suggest you do something different. All right, so this is still at 53, so I'm going to bring you back in a few moments. I'll leave this for probably another 5 to 10 minutes, and then I will come back and we'll pour the rest. Once this is dry, then we will of course come back and add on, as I showed you before, these little gorgeous embeds, which, let me see if I can get nice and close. So it is actually just a little ice cream, and it's very, very cute. And as I said, this is what's going to happen. They're going to be inside. One thing to consider too is the lids. So do consider your lids, because sometimes if you fill them up to the top, the lid will not go on, because a lot of them have like a silicone thing on the inside. which drives me crazy, but that's what they do have. So you always kind of want them to come down a centimetre from the top at least. Anyway, like I said, I'll let this cool down a little bit more and then I will bring you back. All right, everyone, we are totally and utterly back. So now we're going to pour. The trick with pouring with this that I have to say as well is don't pour down the side. You need to pour in the middle because we don't want to affect the hundreds and thousands that are on the top. So very slowly pour, because if you do it too fast, number one, you can wreck all the hundreds and thousands. But of course, we want to make sure this is all looking perfect as well. So I always take quite a bit of time to pour mine. There's no race, is there really? If you want to get this to be exactly 400, do put it on a scale. I honestly do know what mine is because I've done these so many times. And this is going to be, like I said, we're going to be doing 400 on here. And you can see here how gorgeous that's going to look when the white ring will be at the top. And I will actually bring you back when they're finished. And I will actually also, I promise to take a video, you know, I'll do another video, which I'll attach to the end of this on when it actually dries. So you can see how cute it is. Now with the embeds, I never put my embeds on the top. I let this totally dry. Then I use a heat gun and I just heat gun over the top. Let it be a little bit wet so that my embed will stick, because you don't want to just put your embed in case you don't like the top and it's messy and you've got to come back and fix it. So hopefully you can see how cute these look. Often I will just put a bit extra in for my customers. Doesn't really matter, does it? So, but look how sweet they are looking right now. And like I don't have enough for that one because I've only just done a short batch. I always do a short batch just to double check that this is working, because I don't want to waste a batch and then you've got to melt it and you lose the scent. But anyway, I'm sure you can agree they look really, really cute for now. And like I said, I'll bring you back to show you when they're finished. Now we are back. I have poured these, so now you can see how cute they look. I mean, don't these look adorable? I mean, I would so buy one of these, of course. And just white at the top. So what we're going to do now is I'll show you how I actually use the heat gun, and then we're going to be putting on these, which are my tiny little elements. I've got a few different ice cream looks, and then this is just going to sit on the top, and then I'll show you exactly how it's going to look. I've also designed my new labels on Cricut for these ones. So all my labels look very similar. They all have my pattern on them, and that is keeping with what we want, of course. And now, one of my subscribers, Kim, did give me some great advice with these to use a pin, but I'm in my studio, Kim, so unfortunately I don't have a pin. So basically these new labels that I use, which are from a company called Stanley, you just have to be really careful to get them apart. I don't have an issue, but I know what Kim's saying. Sometimes they can be real tricky to get off, and then of course it's just sticky under the bottom. And then what I do is make sure this is straight, and I like the top end to be that way. And all I'm going to do is just stick these on here. My best advice too, when you're doing labels, make sure that they're not too busy, because when they're too busy, that just looks a bit crazy. But anyway, look how gorgeous they look. They're looking really, really cute. And now the last thing we're going to do, of course, is we're going to be popping on the top elements to these. So I've got my heat gun behind me somewhere. Here it is, my trusty little heat gun. If anyone's asking me about this gun, this actually comes as part of the system I have with my shrink wrap machine. So I do have a big shrink wrap machine with this as well. And then it's sort of, I think I have roughly about 1,300 meters of shrink wrap, but it all sort of comes in a system. So, but anyway, you can definitely go to Bunnings. They have heaps of these. If you're in Australia or anywhere else, just go to your hardware store. We're going to put it on low, and I'm just going to whiz this, and we'll get on to making them gorgeous. So when you're doing these, it is super duper important to make sure you make the whole thing wet, which means melted. Don't just do one section because it will look all strange. And then all we're going to do is just pop that in there, give it a tiny little press, and that's it. And how cute do these look? They have their little ice cream on top, and then of course they have these sprinkles, so it looks like a real party fun kind of one. If you have an ice cream themed one, this would look really gorgeous too. And I just make sure mine are all a little different, so we'll put this different one on. We will pop this one in here. It's the same thing. I just give it a tiny press, not too much because you don't want to break it. You got to be gentle. And then you need to leave these just so that they can settle and do their thing. But typical me, I cannot leave it. I am definitely going to be putting on a tiny bit of glitter on the top. This is just a bit of a sparkle kind of glitter. It's just really sparkly. Don't put too much on because glitter can actually clog up your wick. So I just put a tiny little bit on the top, and then that is all it's going to look like. I can't move it too much because it's still a little bit wet, and I think I moved it a bit too much before, but I'm sure you can agree. I mean, look how absolutely amazing these look. They're just so cute. I really do love them. And hopefully you've loved this video and I've helped you out. If I have, make sure you give me a thumbs up because that really does help my channel, and it also does help YouTube to see that my content is worthy of watching. And I really hope this has taught you something and you're going to have a go at making these. Just start with one. You don't need to have two. And before I leave, I have to show you something. Can you see here how well this has adhered to the jar? This is an amazing wax. A lot of wax doesn't do this and it pulls away from the jar. This is looking amazing. So that's something that a lot of people have issues with. So anyway, they're all done and I'll make the rest of them, of course, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.